Did you hear that?
So I hope you guys are ready for some fun and excitement.
Always.
Let's see if I can go to
Oh,
the right
sure.
page now. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that. The
Yes.
same screen as I started with last time. Oh yeah, making my job easy. So, so last month we started with the paradigms and desires. And this month we're really going to focus on faith and gratitude because really understanding those four things makes all the other stuff a lot easier. So as a basic recap, oh boy, I'm going too fast. Recap of everything we went over last month. Um, Out of 100 people, 95 fail, 4% become experts, and 1% really master whatever it is they're out to do. So most people, right, they let their lives be shaped by their circumstances, by everything going on around them that's external. And then they take that and they go, well, because of that, I can't do things, right? They create their limitations. So they create how to live their life based on the rules of everything outside of them. And that's because of their paradigms. So the paradigm is the unconscious set of rules we use to reach our current level of success. And what that means is everything we have in our life is based on the rules we created for ourselves. So we have two choices: either change the game we're playing or change the rules. And so the only two things you need to know is where you are, where you want to go, knowing that the paradigm is keeping you where you are. So you got to change it to get to where you want to go. So we got to remind ourselves, I'm going to create new rules. I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to trust my non-rational judgments. I'm just going to take the plunge, be courageous, take that leap of faith. No, it's now I see it when I believe it, right? It's no longer I'll believe it when I see it. It's no longer I'll fake it till I make it. And it really stems from our desires, right? And our desires are our want plus emotion, right? So when we combine those two, we create our desire. Right? The desire is the yeast that raises the dough. It's the gas that fuels the engine. It's so important, right? Because this is really where faith comes in. But every desire will be met with any of the 31 reasons for failure or the 9 basic fears, right? And success really comes from meeting all of those things and being a person who perseveres, who does not give up, because we will all hit it. So, how do we become that person who does not quit? That was a question that I pondered over for years while I wasn't quitting, which is ironic, but is the question I always had. How do I become that person who doesn't quit? The easy answer is faith, right? You got to have faith. Now, faith is the ability to see the invisible, to see something no one else can see, to believe in the incredible, and that will permit you to receive what the masses call impossible. So what
Bob
is that?
Proctor.
Bob Proctor, right? Yeah. What does that really mean though, right? Well, faith blends with your desire. Because when you take that faith to see the, invisible, and you can really go, man, this is going to be great. And you combine it with your desire, your higher self picks up on that vibration and it translates it into a way your life will understand, right? It's never going to be this crazy thing. It's going to be like, oh, why didn't I think of that before? It just kind of dawns on you in a way you understand it in your life. So again, where you are and where you want to go really depends on having faith that you're here now. You imagine, you desire, right? You get emotionally involved and it brings you here. And then what happens is someone slaps you in the face and goes, get back to reality. And you're like, oh, and you go back down here, right? Following your old rules. Now with faith, you get brought up here and someone slaps you in the face and they say, come on back down. You go, no, 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 no. This is where I want to be, right? I don't have to trust you. I can trust myself. And it keeps you up there so you reach your desired outcome. So it reminds me of the flying Walandas, right? So this was back in, they've been around for almost 100 years, but back in 2012, Nick Walandas, he was the first person to tightrope across Niagara Falls from Canada side to the US side. And it was such an amazing thing. And, he got to the other end and everyone was cheering. And he was like, yeah, he's like, you guys think I can go back? And everyone was like, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And he had someone on his crew have a wheelbarrow. And, as the story goes, he put the wheelbarrow on the tight wire and he pointed to someone. He goes, do you believe I can do it? The guy goes, yeah, you can definitely do it. And he goes, great, get in the wheelbarrow. All of a sudden, the guy was like, no, I no longer believe you, right? Because it's easy to have faith until you get hit with something hard, right? Till you hit that first obstacle. And then most people's faith just disappears, right? Having that type of faith, you will crumble every time. You got to develop that faith that goes, you know what? I trust what's going on. That even though I can't see yet how it's going to work out, I know it's going to work out, right? So having that not necessarily blind faith anymore, but that determined faith becomes super important. And how do we really develop faith, right? How do we develop that ability to believe in ourselves? So we have to understand that faith is a state of mind, right? It's part of an emotion. It can be induced based on our experiences, but even if we don't have experiences, we can create it. We create it through self-suggestion and auto-suggestion, which we get more on later on, but it really shows how everything's connected because you can create faith by repeating your instruction to your subconscious mind over and over and over. With everything in life, whether it's positive or negative, is there because it's been repeated over and over and over. Okay? This is where the law of compounding comes in handy, right? Whereas, the most common one is if I gave you a penny and you just let it double for 30 days, you have over $1 million, right? That same law of compounding works for every one of our suggestions. If you say the same suggestion over and over for 30 days, you have said the suggestion to yourself over 1 million times. So it's so important to make sure we are in control of the suggestions we tell ourselves. But that's kind of going more on that topic. So right now, everyone should have their desires written out and you're reading it every day, right? Because your goal is to naturally acquire those desires into their physical form, into reality. But right now, you may still read and go, man, I don't even know if it's possible for me to reach that goal. And that's a good thing, right? Because when you have that thought process hit you, you're really down to two choices. One, you can give into that paradigm that's saying you can't do it, that's saying it's impossible, right? You can accept your life as it is, right? You can let it give you the same results you're getting day in and day out, year in and year out, being miserable, always wanting more, trying to go, this isn't who I am, right? You can do that. No one's going to stop you, right? We're people of free will. We're all adults. We have that ability. Or we have the second option. You get to make the decision to really convince your subconscious mind that you believe that you will receive what you desire, deserve, and demand, right? Those are the 3 Ds I say we all should have, right? Desire, knowing that you should receive what you desire, you should receive what you deserve, and you should receive what you demand. And what happens is, as you begin to convince yourself, as you begin to believe now what is impossible, your subconscious mind will return this back to you in the form of faith. And then later on, when we mix it with organized planning, you will always reach your goal. There's no if, there's no buts, there's no exceptions. You will always reach your goal because it all comes down to repetition, knowing how to get there, or planning out, not really knowing how, but planning on steps you can do to get there to show that when you hit those walls, you're going to be okay, right? Because the repetition of affirmations, of the desires, of your rules, your subconscious mind is the only known, it's the only known method to voluntarily develop the emotion called faith, right? That repetition to the subconscious mind. Because remember, every suggestion we give ourselves will reap physically what we plant. So if we plant fear, the only thing that can grow is more fear. If we plant faith, the only thing that can grow is faith. You can't, plant corn and expect tomatoes to grow. It's the same thing, right? What you reap, you shall show. So, and that's where developing that faith becomes planting that seed, just like everything else, and nurturing it to be what you want, because it will grow. So this is one where I hear all the time from a lot of people. They just have bad luck, right? They get the worst luck in the world. They're full of misfortune, right? These are the negative thoughts of a destructive nature. These will begin to grow. If the person goes, I have bad luck, and they say it 100 times to themselves, it will grow, right? Because if you fill your mind with fear, doubt, a lack in belief in your abilities to connect with and use the forces of your higher self, right? The auto-suggestion, the self-suggestions will take this fear, this doubt, this lack of belief, and it becomes what your subconscious mind transforms into your reality. So it becomes so important to really take those seeds right now that are in your mind, that are our doubt, that are a lack of belief, that is fear. One, just rip them out. Just see yourself imagining reaching in there, just ripping them out and planting new seeds of belief, of abundance, of accomplishment, of your desire, and of your new rules, because they will begin to grow. It's one where a lot of people go, is it like a light switch? No, it takes that time for them to grow. It takes time for them to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But every time you repeat it, every time you live it, every time you feel it, it instantly becomes stronger. So you need to conduct yourself just as you would if you were already in possession of the physical thing that you deserve, desire, and demand. That becomes one of the most important things. Feel yourself as if you're already in possession of it. And that's when we get to the imagination, probably in 2 months or so. I will show you how to really make it. So it's not, I got to fake it to make it. It's you become it, and then you live it. And it becomes, it's a enormous thing where you feel so much more power in your life. So with that, I was trying to figure stuff out, and the 5 steps to build self-confidence in your ability to have faith in yourself, right? The first step is to know that you have the ability to achieve really what you want in life, right? But know it with a definite purpose. Like without a doubt that you're going to be able to put your shoes on tomorrow. Without a doubt you're going to have a meal for breakfast or lunch or dinner. It's a definite purpose. There's no doubt in your mind that you can do those things, right? This should be that same thing. You got to demand from yourself now persistence to always be moving forward. So right now, everyone should promise to themselves, right? Promise to yourself you will do every action needed to reach your desired outcome. You can either have excuses on why you didn't or the results of doing it. You can't have both. So you got to make that promise to yourself that you're going to do every action to reach your desired outcome. The second thing is realize that your dominating thoughts of your mind will, without a doubt, reproduce themselves in an outward physical action. and become your physical reality. Good or bad, it doesn't care. So focus on the thoughts, the feelings of what you want. So really promise yourself on this one that I will concentrate my thoughts daily, whether it be with my morning routine, thinking of the person I intend to become, to create that clear mental picture of that person. And you do that every day. And this is why that the morning ritual becomes so important, because it allows you to become that person, to focus only on the thoughts that are going to help you become that, to get it, to reach it, to acquire it. Step number 3, know that auto suggestion, right? Any desire that you persistently hold in your mind will seek expression through the activities that you do in your life. Now, if those auto suggestions, those desires are what you want, they will help you reach your desired goal. If those auto suggestions, those desires are your fears, well, they will just bring on more doubt in yourself. So right now, devote time every day just to demanding of yourself the development of faith and self-confidence, right? See yourself, suggest to yourself that I have the faith, I have the confidence, and it will happen. Number 4 is your desired goals. Make sure they're clearly written down, right? And then promise that you will never stop trying until you reach your goal. You will get those thoughts in your head. You will run into people who will tell you it's impossible. You can't do it. You will come into that moment where you go, man, I feel like the world's against me right now. But this is the universe, this is your higher self testing you to make sure it's what you truly desire, you truly want, that you will let nothing get in your way. And then the last one, step number 5, is realize that no goal or desire will last unless it's built on truth and justice. So right now, really promise yourself that you will only take part in actions that benefit everyone around you. Right? This is one where I actually talked with someone just the other day about how in life we can either have 3 outcomes. An outcome is it only benefits me, an outcome that it only benefits them, or an outcome where it benefits everyone. And if your actions benefit everyone, you're going to feel that confidence rise in you, right? We have to eliminate the feelings of hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, cynicism. And the way we do that is we develop a love for everyone. Because I know everyone here, you all know that a negative attitude towards yourself or even other people will never bring success into your life, right? Realize other people believe in you because you believe in them and yourself. It becomes so powerful because when you make the decision and you make the commitment to every day to do these 5 things, you become so self-reliant and you become so successful because faith will remove all your limitations. Okay. So now where we are with everything, right? We know the steps to how to reach your goals, right? It starts with being clear in what you want. So it becomes a desire, right? It's that want plus emotion to get you what you desire. You know you need to create new rules to reach that goal because the rules you have right now get you the life you have, and the life you have is not the one you want. So therefore, you just need to change some of those rules to do stuff differently. And now you go, okay, so now I get that. Now I got to develop my faith so I can take the appropriate actions to make that decision, to promise to let nothing stop me when I'm faced with those 31 reasons of failure or the 9 basic fears. Those will no longer stop you. So the next part is, how do you secure all of this and harmonious relationship with your life and goals. That's where we get to gratitude. Gratitude is one of my favorite things. It's one of the easiest things we can all do, but it's the one, for whatever reason, a lot of people skip. So the whole process of shifting your mindset and attuning your life can be summed up in one word, and that's gratitude, right? The closer we live to our higher self, right? The closer we live to our goals, our desires, the easier it becomes to reach them, right? If you're, let's say you're running a marathon, if you always start at the end of the marathon, it's so much easier to get to the end than if you start at the beginning, right? So as we focus on ourselves on gratitude, what we do is we fix our minds on what our highest self has brought into our lives. And the better that we receive what is already brought into our lives, the more rapidly new things will come. Because just a mental attitude of gratitude draws the mind into closer touch with the source that all those blessings are going to come from. Everything we desire comes from our higher self. So we should want to be closer to our higher self so we can get it a lot easier, right? We remove all the struggle. So the importance of gratitude, our highest self, right? Our highest self is the infinite possibilities, right? It's unlimited. Anything is possible. Then we have our superconscious, right? And that is the part of it that connects with our highest self, right? And then we have our intellectual self, which is our conscious and subconscious mind. And then we have our physical self, which is really just the outside world, right? It's limited. It tells us who we are and who we aren't, what we can do and what we can't do. So think about it is this way. Physical self, that is just like ice, right? It has one purpose, really to cool something down. But then it becomes more fluid. It becomes like water, right? It can do different things. And then at some point it becomes steam, which is our superconscious self. And then eventually becomes ether or air, which is invisible. And that's our higher self. We can't see our higher self, but it's there. And if you take water and you boil it, at what point does it become steam? If you put water and you put it in the freezer, at what point does it become ice? Right? They all really blend together in such a way that there's no defining moment. But you always trust that water will turn into steam or vapor, whether it's in the ocean or on the stove in your house. You know, air or water vapor is in the air at all times, even though none of us can see it. We see it form into a cloud and have it rain, right? Our highest self is our highest frequency that we can't see, and our physical self is our lowest frequency. Those are the things where most people live. They go, oh man, I live, in a bad neighborhood. I'm just destined to be here because my neighborhood's bad. I can't better myself. No, they're letting the ice just live their life. They live a cold life versus turning it into water, steam, and then eventually air. So most people, right, 95% of people, they live in that physical. The physical controls their thoughts and their outcomes. And now everyone here, understand, you live with your highest self. Your highest self is going to control your thoughts and your outcomes. Most people live from the external, from the outside in. Right? They're letting everything out there tell them who they are. You are now thinking from the inside out, right? Our highest self is in us. So you get to think from the inside out. That's so important. And the more gratitude we have with what we have now, it brings us so close to our highest self that the moment it wants to give you something, it doesn't have to travel all the way down here. If you're living here it just has to go bam right there. So quick, so easy, so natural that you begin to get your everything you desire. So the good things you already have come to you because of the laws of nature, right? Gratitude will lead your mind into creative thoughts that are unlimited and abundant and prevent you from falling into competitive thoughts, which are limited and fatal, right? That's one of the best things I think I ever learned was living in that creative thoughts, right? When we think of the most influential people in the world, they don't compete with other people. They create for themselves. They create an unlimited and abundant option versus competing, and then you're limited and you become fatal because you're just competing, right? It was one where someone once said to me, a pro creates, an amateur competes. And I want you to think of everyone here as a pro living in those creative thoughts. Because one of the strongest laws is the laws of cause and effect. Every action has a reaction that is equal and opposite. So understand that if your gratitude is strong and constant, the reactions from your higher self will be strong and continuous back, which keeps you right on that path of your desired result. But also understand that if your gratitude is low, your higher self's gratitude is going to be low, and it's still going to keep you on where you are now. Because gratitude and faith keep you here, right? They keep you on this desired outcome line. They they keep you moving forward when everything seems to be telling you that something is going wrong. That gratitude will be like, nope, there it is. There's a solution. A perfect example is last Thursday. Either Thursday or Friday. I want to say it was Thursday. I went to go get lunch. My car broke down. And at first, I was in a bad mood. I was like, this is not happening to me now. Frustrated, annoyed. This guy pulls up next to me in a nice car, and he's just like, you having trouble? And I'm like, yeah, my car's not starting. I'm like, I don't think it's my battery because everything's turning on. For whatever reason, I feel like my starter went. And he's like, okay, And he's like, do you want me to stay with you till the tow truck comes? I was like, wow. I'm like, do you have nowhere to go? And he's like, well, no. He's like, I kind of do what I want. And I was like, oh, I'm like, that's cool. And so for 2 hours, he stayed with me. He talked with me. Now, come to find out that he lives in my area and all he does is cryptocurrency trading. And last year he made, I think he's like $500,000. And, you know, he was like, hey, he's like, do you want me to help you learn how to do this? I was like, oh, I'm like, actually, that would be pretty cool. Right. Because even though I was frustrated, right, I hit one of those 31 reasons where I could have told that guy just to go away, to leave me alone. My gratitude side of me said, you know what? This happened for a good reason. Something good is going to come out of your car breaking down. And I looked for it and I found it. Where other people probably would have missed it. He tells me he talks to people all the time about how he wants to help people, right, give up like a 9-to-5 style job, but no one ever takes him up on it. No one ever asks, hey, can you show me? And here I am, could be one of those other hundreds of people, but I was like, you know what? I can learn something from him. He knows something I don't know. Let me see what I can learn from him. It kept me on my line of desired outcome versus me pulling me down to what the external world was telling me that my car was broken down. Long story short, it was my starter, but that's all fixed. And right. And even that, they were like, oh, it's going to take 4 days because they were so busy, to the very next day, they're like, it's done. You can come pick it up. Right. So many things come without you asking for it when you live in that world of gratitude and faith. So, long-winded story there, but when you skip gratitude, you miss the signals that present themselves as milestones that, yes, you are reaching your goals. Because in that moment, you become so dissatisfied with what's going on. Just like I could have been equally dissatisfied or angry, upset, or sad, or disappointed that my car wasn't starting, that I could have missed an amazing milestone. Because the moment you allow your mind to become dissatisfied, you begin to lose ground. If you focus on the ordinary, the poor, what you have now, your mind takes the form of these things in your physical world. If you permit your mind to focus on feeling inferior, on how you're not as good as someone else, well, now you become inferior and you surround yourself with inferior things. But if you focus your attention on the best things around you, then you begin to surround yourself with the best, which means you become the best. That's how important gratitude is. That's how important it is to stay focused on what you want, to take your desire, to really live it, to become it, to feel it. To go, these are the new rules I got to live by, and then live by them to know you're going to get there. And having the faith that these new rules, as scary as they are, as so much as they are unknown, they are what's right to get you where you want to go. And then showing gratitude every step of the way, even when it feels like a time where there is no gratitude, because it's there. But the question is, are you looking for it? So you got to make the decision right now to let nothing, and I mean nothing, stop you from reaching your desired goals, right? You're going to continue to work on your desire and building it up. You're going to continue creating those new rules to reach your outcome. But now you're going to add in building your faith and then expressing true gratitude to stay connected with your higher self. Because these four things are the pillar for everything else to come. If you skip even one of these things, you're going to struggle later on. And all four of these things are really easy. None of this stuff in here really takes an outside thing for you to do. It's not like you got to get up every morning and take an ice cold bath, right? It's not like you got to get up every morning, run 10 miles. You can do this the moment you wake up. You could do this when you're eating breakfast. You can do this when you're brushing your teeth. You can do this doing anything in your life. It takes no extra effort to do any of this stuff. The only thing it takes is your commitment and your decision to let nothing stop you from doing it. So again, with what we how we kind of finished up last week is the 6 steps, and every week this is going to make more and more sense, or not every week, every month. This is going to make more and more sense to you on how each and every one of these things is going to help you reach your goal. Because first, it's fixing your mind exactly on what you desire, writing it down, reading it every day, right? Determining what exactly you're going to do different. What you're going to give in return for what you desire. This is one where I talked to someone who, wanted to lose weight. And I said, are you willing to give up KFC for something healthier? That's a rule. That would be a new rule for them to live by. And they went, yes. And you know what? The first week, they didn't do it. They were like, I didn't even, read it every day that I was doing this. And I said, how did that make you feel? And they went, like crap. I go, do you like feeling like crap? And they're like, no. I go, great. Let's now do it the new way. And then just humor me, right? That's the way I look at it. Make it a game, make it fun. Humor me. Let's see what happens in a week. And the next week they came back to like, oh my God, that was the best week of my life. I didn't know it was going to be this enjoyable. Because now I get to find and try new things, right? Now they're looking for all the things to be gracious for. They're looking for that gratitude to allow those new rules to find, wow, I can get up in the morning without being exhausted. Who knew? Right? I can have energy. Who knew? Like they're finding these new things that they're so gracious for. And then they took the action steps every day to reach their goal. Now, I'm not saying they were perfect. They didn't go all week without KFC, but versus getting it 4 days of the week, they only got it twice. That's a win because it's not a light switch. It's not one way or the other way. They're allowing it to grow. They're allowing it to nurture, right? They're anchoring it into their life. They're building it to make it stronger and stronger. And every day, you should be writing down, reading what you're grateful for, right? You should be writing down what you did differently that day and what you're going to do better tomorrow. Because those are the things that are going to help you get to your goal. So this was one quote I saw, so I wrote it down because it was one where it's so important, where it goes, trust your power. Even when you don't see it, believe it, because you're going to need it. From your earliest days, rejection has followed you, and it will be there through every step of your journey. It'll come from people who love you. It'll come from people who don't think you belong. But understand, rejection is not failure. Rejection is a calibrator. It can help you learn who you are and what you want. And there's something you want more than anything. So your path might sometimes be rough. Trust your power. When you face rejection, you feel like you just want to quit. Trust your power. You will be a trailblazer. While you're going to that dream, something else, there we go, it should be else's, something else will be happening, something extraordinary, something you can feel but don't have the words to articulate. You will learn to love who you are and not give a damn that who you are makes some people uncomfortable. You will know that no matter how much people try to control you, that they cannot break you. And you will learn to find beauty in places where the world says there is none. And because of these things, you will know that when people say you cannot reach your dreams, it doesn't matter. Because you will see that you are more than that, much more. Trust your power. So that was from Colin Kaepernick, one of his quotes that he recently kind of put out there. And I 100% agree with that entire statement, because there will be people who say it can't be done. There will be people who say you don't belong. There will be people who love you, who reject you. But as long as you're doing the right thing, something that's helping everyone, not just you, you will get there as long as you trust your power. You have faith in your ability to get there. Because there will be rejection. No ifs, ands, or buts. It will be there. The only question becomes is, what will you do when it happens? Will you go with option one and quit? Go back to the way your old life was, the way your paradigm created, always wanting more? Or will you pick option two, to create those new rules, to let nothing stand in your way, to guarantee yourself that you will reach your goal? So over the next 4 weeks, I want you to continue building that desire, right? I want you to continue creating new rules. But now I want you to take time to really master building your faith and gratitude. Anchored into everything you do, every time you eat, every time you start the car, every time you get dressed, every time you brush your teeth, every time you put on your shoes, every time you do anything, anchor it into that. Because that's one of those things where as coaches, as hypnotists, as anyone that helps people, help any practitioner, how amazing is it that every time you sit in a chair, you get this feeling of gratitude? How amazing is it that you sit in a chair and just instantly you just go, man, I really believe in myself? That's not a bad thing, right? But the question is, will you do it? And that's where you guys got to make the commitment to yourself, the decision that there is no ifs, there is no buts, there's no excuses. Because if you let those things live your life, you will never get results. Because you can have results or excuses. You can't have both. So that is what I got for you guys.
That was wonderful, Pete. It was something in the very beginning that you said that triggered for me. I was born in 1945, so I grew up with Disney's fairy tales, his programs. And my most favorite one was Cinderella. I lived, eat, and breathed it for years. And I was going to be getting married and living happily ever after. And that stuck, okay? And then I found a husband, and I can remember to this day, we're driving off to our honeymoon literally into the sunset. And I said, I'm going to live happily ever after now. And I just realized I said the word I didn't include him in it.
So you tell me you lived happy, but him.
Yeah, well, so I ended up getting divorced. And that's when the rules changed. Totally changed. And this is icing on the cake now for me.
Very good. Do you guys have any questions from what we went over today?
So I have a person in my life that proceeded to, no,
You.
she's from Wisconsin. I just explain it all.
That's enough said.
But she literally made every excuse under the sun to not keep her commitment to me over the last 3 weeks. And then today I set that boundary because I realized that by letting those people in, it was causing me to doubt myself. It's kind of funny how this is like the icing on the cake for that stuff. And she got bitey, nasty. Fine, I'll just disappear. It's not what I said. I simply said, you didn't follow through. This is what, you caused me to miss a business appointment. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff that was leading up to our actual soft open for our restaurant that put us in a massive bind the morning of the open. And she wanted to get paid. And I'm like, for what? Causing stress? No, thanks. I'm not paying for that. That wasn't the agreement. So how do you guys as a coach, like, especially with this, because it triggers a little bit of that self-doubt, like, where did I drop the ball? Like I went back and I reviewed everything that I could in how I've been working with her. And I'm like, okay, where did I drop the ball? How do you guys determine from this stuff when it's just time to walk away from a client like that? Is it just because they repeatedly kick you in the head over and over and you're just like, wow, enough's enough? Or...
Yeah, for me, I'm a very blunt person. I'm very much I have no problem saying to someone, you will never get the results you're looking for if you do not do these new things. And for me, I'm very open saying, look, like there's other people who really need my help. So if you can't commit to this, I can't commit to the time, right? And for some people, that's enough to kind of go, whoa, that's a wake-up call. Some people do. They get mad at me. They go, how dare you say that? I'm paying you. And for me, my response is, it's not about the money. Like, I don't care about the money. I care about helping people reach where they want to go. And that means getting to people who will actually commit to what they need to do. Okay. Some people get mad. They storm off. They rue about it. They talk to their significant other. And the significant other is kind of like, yeah, he was right to say that, right? Sometimes they go, yeah, that guy's a jerk. I'm okay if they think I'm a jerk, right? It's not on me for them to change.
Okay.
Right? That's not my job. My job is never to make someone change.
I like that because that's where I kept getting hiccuped, was trying to figure out how to honor my own power and my belief in myself, but not cut another person short. I like that because you're still honoring yourself and your power, your ability, and your belief in yourself, but allowing them to make that decision themselves. So if they choose to storm off, good riddance. That's my theory.
Yeah, understand that when they storm off, it's because you hit a nerve in their paradigms. You hit a nerve in their rules. The paradigm hates change. It hates being told it's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everyone hates being told they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you get those other people that go, no, 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 I like you for who you are, which can be all well and good to a certain extent. But it doesn't matter if I like someone for who they are. The question is, do they like who they are?
Oh, okay.
Right. And if
I
they
like
say
that.
yes, what do I care? Right. If someone comes to me and they go, Pete, I love being an alcoholic, what do I care? It doesn't affect my life. Right.
Makes sense.
If they're happy that way, they're happy that way. If they come to me though, there's one where I'll say with, with Sarah's kids and they go, oh, I got this grade. And I go, that's awesome. That's great. Are you happy with that grade? Right. And they either go yes or no. And if they go, no, I'm not happy with it, I go, great. What can you do differently so you can be happy with it?
Oh, I like that. Very
Right.
cool. Thank you.
It's one where you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink type of situation where you can give people all these tools, right? Like with the training I do, I can tell you exactly what to do, but you could leave here going, I'm not doing any of that, right? And then complain that your life never changed. You go, well, I took Pete's training, it didn't work for me. But let's say it works for Patty, for Sue, for Joan. I know it works. So why should that affect my confidence if I see it working for other people? So obviously it's not me.
That makes very good sense. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
This is when I first moved up here to New Hampshire. One of the first people I saw was this woman who wanted to stop smoking. So I did the one session with her and she was going to come back for more. But the very next day, the husband called me. I knew there was something not quite right about this woman, but I went ahead. He calls me and he was furious. You failed. You're no good. He was going on and on. My wife didn't stop smoking. I'm going to continue to buy her cigarettes. I want my money back. I said, I have no problem giving your money back. It's obvious she did not want to stop, and you're going to continue to support her habits. So you'll just be shortening her life a little bit, but I'll be happy to send the money back. So I sent the money back and I wrote out the check to her, not him. So I guess I was on my way.
Yeah. My deal is not noticing gratitude. I am thankful that I am awake every morning. I am thankful for my friends. I am thankful for my husband. But Charity pointed this out to me. My goal is I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to say something that makes people think and reflect. And I had two examples of that, and I didn't notice it till she pointed it out to me. But I went to go see my doctor, which you probably know about this, Peter. I don't know if Kevin told you or not, but he said, I call him my MS shrink because I have an MS team and I have a psychiatrist that helps me with my ADD and stuff like that. And I'm just crazy. So he said when I explained Ho'oponopono to him, that really struck a nerve. And he's been telling his patients ever since. And I tell Charity this, I'm using you as an example, hon, and she said, well, you made a difference. And I didn't think of it that way. And here, this is what I want to do. And I already did. Well, then I went to another doctor, which you have a lot of them with MS. And he said I made a difference with him. And he tells his patients that it's not whether you have a glass half empty or half full, is that you have a glass. And I said that to him like 2 years ago. And he just wanted to say something to me that day that I made a difference. He said that. He said those words. And I told Charity this, I was all excited about it. And then I'll be damned if it's not in the next paragraph. I'm like, I really want to make a change. I want to make a difference. And why can't I wake up and see this gratitude or see it right in front of me?
So that's a good question. Um, you know,
I hiccuped you. Ah.
yeah, well, it's one where there, there's gratitude for like gratitude's sake, right? There's always the, oh, I'm saying I'm thankful, right? Then there's feeling thankful.
Mhm.
They're on two different levels. And so as people, if we just go, thank every day you wake up and you're just saying like you're reading from a dictionary, you know what? I'm thankful I have my husband. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for my dog. I'm thankful that I'm alive, right? And they're just kind of like you're reading a book. It's not real gratitude per se, right? Especially the 50, the 60th, the 100th time of saying it, because it just becomes the same thing as breathing. It's just happening, right? But you're not feeling it. And the moment you really internalize, when you go, man, I'm so thankful for my husband, man, especially when he farts and he puts the blanket over my head, that's the time I'm really thankful for him, right? Right? You're giving it this strong emotional attachment to why you're thankful for him.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's what will allow the other things when they happen for you to not necessarily notice in the moment, but kind of like after be like, huh, man, exactly what I wanted to do, right? Because very, very rarely do we even notice we do things in the moment. It's usually that a reflection period after that we get to go, that's wow, that actually happened. Wow, I did something differently, right?
Okay.
Especially when it becomes those new rules, right? Because if you think about the rules you have now, they're just set in place. They're just auto playing and you don't have to think, you don't have to worry. They just happen. When you create the new rules, well, now you got to actually think and you got to put the effort and you're focusing on it till they become automatic. So in the beginning, you go, oh, that was it. Like that's my new rule playing. But the
Right.
moment it becomes automatic, you don't notice it anymore. And you have to reflect to go, that was that moment right there. That was my new rule. It is automatic. It gets to have you feel good that it becomes automatic. And then you get to see if that new rule has been working, keep it or make it better.
Or
Right.
keep a friend like Charity.
Yeah.
Where she
Yeah.
can point. I don't want you to think that the stuff that I said sounds redundant. It's not like I have a cadence that I'm saying over and over and all that stuff, because I want to also tell you guys that my alive date is Saturday. It'll be a year since I had my heart attack and I'm alive. I got a stent put in and it's my alive date. So it's also hunting season, which my husband is kind of like, kind of weighing it back and forth. But I want to do things and I'm starting to understand that some of the goals that I've set, I'm already here. And I want to sit back and relish in it instead of just all of a sudden make other goals and other things. I want to sit back and enjoy.
Yeah. You know what? The simple
That is
answer
your
might be finding reflection time. Just so you can sit back and go over the day, over what people have said. And you go, is that reaching my goal? You go, wow, I changed people's lives. That is reaching my goal, right? It
Yeah.
takes, that might just be that moment of every night before you go to bed, just kind of replay your day, the conversations you had.
Okay.
And you might start noticing it yourself without Charity. But it's good to have Charity there, to also point things out because we miss things.
I think that the other thing too with gratitude. And I found this with a couple of clients that I'm working with right now that are doing the book, I'm calling it the book. Okay. And so, and I've got another one that I'm meeting with on Wednesday morning that comes to me from Indianapolis. He drives almost an hour up to see me. And so I started him with it 2 weeks ago. So I'm interested to see where he's at with it. But these gals I just saw once every 30 days. And so they just finished up their 30 days. But this conversation came up at our last meeting because she said, well, I am grateful for my husband. So he goes on there all the time. And I said, how about putting the word because after that, whatever it is that you say often. So it's like, I'm grateful for my husband because I'm grateful for my children because I'm grateful that I'm alive because I'm grateful for. So the things that come up on a regular basis, that it makes your mind think a little deeper in relationship to what it is. Why is it this person keeps coming up? It's not just one thing. Why are you grateful to be alive? It's more than just one thing. Okay. And so that leads you then to other things that you find that you're grateful for. So what I coached them to do was to say, because as a question mark, so that they had to pause to think about it before they finished that line in the book. And sometimes I've used 2 lines for one thing. Okay. Because of saying that, it doesn't, I didn't think I was going to fail the course because I'm not putting 10 things down there. But if I put 8 and they were really, heartful for me, that was more important than just trying to fill the line.
Right.
Okay. And so this is what I've tried to share with those people that are working with me with it as well, is just to be in that moment that you are grateful, but not just noticing the moments. They're carrying their books with them. They took them on vacation. I was excited to get the responses back and their excitement with it. They were going like, are you going to put this in your mastermind next year? And I'm like, well, maybe, And so, but the other thing that my people have found, and one of them is a mother she has 2 young daughters, and she said, my kids are curious about what I'm doing. So she said on vacation, because I was doing it every morning and every evening on vacation, they'd come out and they'd say, Mom, what are you doing? And she said, well, this book I'm working in. And so they made themselves books. And so her kids are now looking at, they're asking Mom, what were you grateful for today? I was grateful because the teacher let us out for recess early, it's whatever. But the fact was that they were bringing it into their family. They were bringing it into their children, and they're very a faithful group of their faithful family with parents and the 2 kids. But it was just interesting how they had already brought it back in. And I have my people journaling as well. And one of the things that they found on Amazon, and I don't know if you have children at home, you might look for it, but they found some kind of a wipe off calendar type thing that they could put up, and the kids could put what they were thankful for and what they were doing and what their goal was. And, she said it was all kind of the same thing, but really for kids. And she said, I got each of them one and they have it on their wall. And she said, every day they get to change it. She said, it's not like making a list consistently, but every day they get to change it. And one of her daughters asked her, can I keep this one for more than one day? And she said, well, as long as you just are not being lazy, yes, if that's what you really want to do. So I've taught her well. But it's amazing how people are using it. And sometimes we in our industry get hung up on there has to be perfection in what we're doing with it. And it's only perfection if it is for us.
Well, I have to tell you that I'm thankful for my husband. And I know that sounds once again redundant, that you think, but really I am. I have been extremely persistent in this field where everybody had got higher education and I married for a living. So, finally I found one 16 years. I am grateful for my husband. So, It's just, I don't have to do it. Well, because it's just, I tried so hard and it finally stopped.
I'm grateful that he saved your life.
Yes. Thank you.
And I have to say, I'm grateful for every one of you.
Oh, we're grateful for you. I'm grateful for you.
Yes.
But we don't take up 7 lines in your book, so you still have to go back and write some.
Oh, darn. I had something, and it's a result of this meeting tonight. For the past 2 days, I have been very angry because they put in, my CC communication has come around and they are installing all the fiber optics throughout the whole condominium group here. They never gave us notice ahead of time. They just showed up and the noise level is excruciating and they're digging up the lawns that were just reseeded and the new grass grew in. They've ruined the plants around my lamppost out there. I mean, it's just awful. And I've just been cursing and swearing. I haven't even thought of the Ho'oponopono. I thought, I was really feeling lousy. So today, I'm looking out there and they're putting new stuff up right around the stuff that Comcast has out there. So I go out and of course, none of these guys speak English. I said, does anybody speak English here? No. I said, who speaks English? So they went and he's actually the head of this whole construction project. Young guy, and he's on crutches. And he's got one leg totally wrapped up, his left leg. He injured it very badly in a motorcycle accident. And he's taking care of all of this. So I suddenly realized, Sue, you need to be nice. You know you're not going to complain. So just knock it off. So I asked him, I said, he said, well, if you haven't lost your cable now, you will not. Because he says they really do a good job. I said, I'm sure they do. I said, what happened to you? He told me about the motorcycle accident. And then he said, and my leg is never going to be the same again. And it just came out of my mouth. I said, if you keep saying it's never going to get better, then it won't. And he kind of looked at me kind of funny. He said, I never thought of it that way. I said, can I have your card? I got his name. And I just looked at his card a few minutes ago. He owns White Construction Company, golf course construction. And he's doing this, golf course construction. I'm working right now with a very professional golfer, and it's working like a charm, okay, down in Florida. But I'm saying, I need to call this young fellow and find out, first of all, if he'd like some help with that leg, with the ankle, and to find out just, question him about the golf course stuff and everything, because you never know where to lead. But if I hadn't heard you guys tonight, I don't know if that would have come up. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And anyone else want to add anything? If not, I'll tell Kevin's 2 jokes. And if Sue has a joke, she can have a joke. But Kevin did leave me 2 jokes. So the first one is, why did Mom's turkey seasoning taste a little off last year?
I don't know.
She ran out of time.
Oh, Lord.
And then the second one is, what was the turkey suspected of?
Oh,
Foul play.
God. Oh. What do they call a haunted chicken?
Mm.
A poultrygeist.
Oh. Do you guys know the movie Frozen?
Yeah,
Mm.
Elsa's the character, right?
yeah.
Elsa's in there. Why can't Elsa get a balloon?
Oh,
Because she lets it go.
oh, jeez.
All right, I had to say that's what I heard on Halloween.
I like that one. But
Thank you,
with all
Peter.
of that, I'll do my best to get this recording up as soon as possible for anyone that missed it.
Thank
Wants to
you, Pete.
rewatch
I
it.
really enjoyed it, Pete. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
Pete,
Thank you,
so
Anil.
much.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Oh, thank
Bye,
you very much. I
everybody.
really, really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Awesome. The next
Bye.
one will be even better, knock on wood.
It will be better.
It will.
You know, you are improving many people's lives and you are earning good karma.
Thank you. That's my goal. My goal is just like Joan. I want to help a lot of people.